guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled I Called Roadside Assistance Today. I blew out a tire while driving this afternoon. Pulled off the busy road to a side street to assess the damage and start work on replacing the flat with the spare from the trunk. It turned out that the lug wrench provided in this car was tiny, and thus provided very little leverage. Try as I might, I only managed to loosen one of the 5 lug nuts holding the tire on. No problem, I thought, as I have roadside assistance coverage on my auto insurance. A short call later, my insurance has dispatched a local service provider and I receive a text stating that Daryl from the local provider will be arriving at my location by 2:34 p.m. That's less than a half-hour wait, so I'm happy. At 2:33 p.m. a van approaches, the driver waves at me and pulls over. Driver immediately hops out with a toolkit in hand. We exchange brief pleasantries and I explain my problem. Driver smiles and tells me the same thing happened to him last month and says not to worry about it. He takes out a proper wrench, I hand him the jack, spare and he have my car back in operation in about 6 minutes flat. It was at this point when the conversation got a bit muddled. I ask him if he needs anything from me, like a signature, to ensure he gets paid. He responds that no money is necessary. I try to clarify my question and explain that I have roadside assistance on my policy, and that my insurer got him dispatched to me and that I think they will pay his employer for the service call. His response? Oh, no one dispatched me. I was just driving by and thought that you could use some help. So, you're not Daryl? Nope. Brian. I can't believe that I handed this guy my jack and just watched him crank up my car while lying on the frozen pavement. I don't even remember how many times I apologized. Guy wouldn't even let me hand him some cash. He just left, in full cheer, and told me to pay it forward. Aftermath. I waited another 10 minutes for Daryl but gave up and left after finding his employer's phone number and canceling the help request. My insurer had been sending me automated texts all day, along the lines of, "Has your service provider arrived yet?" Reply, "Why, if yes, and, if no, has your service been completed yet? And how likely are you to recommend this service provider from 1 to 10? I can't figure out how to respond in such a way that no one gets in trouble or underpaid. Anyway, thanks Brian. The next story is titled Are You a Manager? This man at age 55 was walking through a high-end department store in the town of Watford, UK. At the time, my daily workwear was a business suit. I worked in direct sales. I am ex-military and that shows in the purposeful way in which I walk. How I carry myself. So I'm walking through the store and heading towards the mall car park. 10 yards ahead of me I see 2 young men. Sales assistants. As they see me, they both straighten up and one of them adjusts his tie. Just before I walk between them I nod and say good afternoon, gentlemen. They both say good afternoon, sir. Then one of them says, excuse me sir, are you a manager? I stop, turn, smile and say, gentlemen, if you look at the left lapel of your jackets, you will see a small company pin, badge. If you look at my lapel, you see no pin, badge. Now, you tell me, do I work here? They had the good grace to look embarrassed and I smiled as I considered the merits of a military background and carriage. The next story is titled I Confused for Another Student and Almost Get Suspended for It. I, 15 years old at the time 32 now, went to a Catholic high school in Canada and at that point of my life was pretty straight-laced. Always on time, followed the rules, just trying to not get in trouble in grade 9. One day I go down to the principal's office as I wanted to see if I can have my MP3 player during my lunch period, mid-2000s and was still very naive. When the vice principal, henceforth known as VP, saw me his face went beet red and just pointed to his office telling me to follow him in and take a seat. Though now I do have a tougher skin back then it wasn't really the case and was already feeling myself go into an anxiety attack so the only thing I was able to do was do what I was told and followed VP into his office and took a seat. What happened after was perhaps one of the most vicious grilling I have ever received in my life going on about missing school and how they found me in the smoke pit, I didn't even smoke, and how I was super close to being suspended etc. etc. After around 10 minutes of this VP finally relented long enough for me, who was on the verge of tears, to stammer out I just wanted to listen to music. After a few silent seconds, the VP turned his face toward his monitor that was facing away from me and started typing away for a little while. After another brief pause of him looking at me and back at the screen, and turned the screen around to reveal another kid's face who looks super similar to me, asking, "Is this you?" After answering in the negative and giving my name, his face goes ghost white after realizing what he had just done. Needless to say, after many apologies from the VP and after a few minutes to recover, I was told I was able to listen to my music during lunch period for the rest of the year if we kept this between us. I know it isn't super interesting, but thought it may get a good laugh. The next story is titled, "Can I Legally Move Someone's Car Who's Parked in My Driveway?" In Missouri, USA. I have a few questions regarding my situation at the moment. I rent a house and we share a driveway with our neighbors, who I assume also rent. I'm in a college town and there is a lot more people than normal here since it's St. Patrick's Day weekend. Today, someone is parked in our driveway, parking everyone in. The neighbors don't know whose car it is either, and also want it gone. I need to get my car out in a few hours, so if they don't move their car before then and I need to leave, can we legally get their car towed? Do I have to pay for it, or would the owner of the car? Additionally, they left their car unlocked. My roommate wants to just put the car in neutral and move it onto the street. I didn't think that was a good idea because I don't think that would be legal, but I'm not sure. The next story is titled, "Cast to Act as Production Staff. Get Treated as Production Staff." Now that my NDA is over, I figured I could finally share a great story that happened last summer while I was working as a supporting actor. I'm still not going to say the name of the TV show, because they're run by a huge media company, but it was a very big, critically acclaimed US TV show. I, 21F at the time, had been working as a supporting actor, basically a glorified extra, for a few years, and last summer I was cast for the new season of this big TV show. I was cast as a European-looking concert staff, music tech, for an episode based around a concert. I was asked to bring outfit choices, so I borrowed a few items of clothing and accessories that were my boyfriend's, as he actually works as a sound engineer, videographer. On the first day of filming, the wardrobe department chose which clothing I should wear, and approved my accessories, etc. They were commenting on how good and realistic I looked, and I told them it was because I was cast to act as the same job my boyfriend actually does, which they found entertaining. A few times during that day I had other supporting actors come up to me asking for direction, and questions about where they should go, and I told them I was only dressed like this for the role, and was a supporting actor like them. They thought it was hilarious, and apologized. Around the third scene we shot on the day I was given my directions again, and had specific instructions on what to carry, who to pretend to talk to and when, etc. normal background stuff. Action was called for the scene, and the cameras were rolling. It was then that I hear a member of the actual production staff hiss at me, "Get out of the shot." I looked confused but continued doing what I was meant to so I didn't cause a retake. I had to pick up some electrical cables, walk through the main actors, and walk out the door with them. I picked up the cables and heard, "Stop it. What are you doing?" This woman was talking in that annoying hissy loud whisper, and everyone could hear. I ignored, because it is literally my job to, and walked through the main cast and out the door. I paused on the other side of the door and waited for, cut. As soon as production called, cut, I walked back to my initial placement to shoot the scene again, only to see this woman running towards me. She is still trying to keep her voice down, but screeches at me, "What the hell do you think you're doing? You can't just walk across the set when the cameras are rolling, you can move this stuff later." I stood back, stunned, and just scoffed. As soon as it sunk in that she had mistaken me for actual production staff, I nervous laughed and just said, I meant I'm an actor." Her face was priceless. She asked why my outfit was so realistic and I told her about my partner's job. She was incredibly embarrassed as her speaking caused the scene to be shot again. All of the production staff and the very famous main cast watched this happen, and started smiling. I just walked back to my starting position and got ready for the next shot. From then on, the production team all recognized me, and said hi, making jokes about how I was trying to steal their jobs. Even the three main cast members, who I massively idolized, began chatting to me between takes and joking around, and generally not being the Hollywood jerks I was worried they might be. I didn't see the woman again for the week I was filming, and continue being friendly on set with the three famous guys, one of whom I had the pleasure of taking smoke breaks with a couple of times. All in all, I'm glad she was a jerk, because my whole time filming was so much more fun, and I got smoke breaks with one of my favorite actors ever. The next story is titled Ma'am I'm 11. This happened some time ago. I was a 11 years male, trans. In my small town we have a small grocery store. I had gone there multiple times before to get energy drinks and sometimes food. I was there to get an energy drink when in the middle of choosing a drink I heard a ahem in a way that sounded like I need your attention right now. I turned around to see a middle-aged woman standing behind me. I say, oh sorry, am I in your way? Thinking she had wanted a drink too. Oh, how I was wrong. She then said in a harsh tone, I need help looking for the mouthwash. Since I had only gone there for drinks and food, I did not know where the mouthwash was. I had then said, sorry ma'am, I don't know where that is. Then in a harsher tone than before she almost yelled, you should know where the item is if you're going to be working here. I then say, ma'am I don't, but I was cut off by her ranting about how I should know what my job offered and how the customer was always right. Some people managed to hear the misunderstanding and were now looking our way. Me being the nervous child I was did not like this attention, so I grabbed my drink and started walking to the checkout. But no, I got heels back by my arm. She then says, where do you think you're going? At this point I'm fed up and shout, ma'am I am 11. I am not even allowed to be working here. Then I pulled my arm away and went to the checkout almost crying, from the attention. I looked back before paying and the look on that woman's face was priceless. It was a look of it I just screamed at a child and oh crap. I will never forget that day. The next story is titled Okay so IDK if this belongs here but meh. So basically I am just relaying info from one of my friends on Discord, so I'll be in their point of view in this post. I was at a carnival booth that was selling Pokemon cards and people thought I worked there. Okay, so basically I was waiting my turn to buy more of the Shining Strike Pokemon cards the guy had, and a kid who looked like he was 11 asked me how much the jerseys were and I just told him, I don't know, I don't work here. Another guy asked me how much a toy gun was and again I said I don't work here. I was wearing a yellow Field Day shirt from 2012. I was helping the people who were playing the spin the wheel and win the Pokemon card the pointer lands on, because the guy running it made the pointer deceptively small and hard to see unless you're standing at the right angle. Which I was, because it's pretty deceptive and people thought the knob to spin it was the pointer. At the end of the day I still got some good cards and a few laughs, so all was fine. The next story is titled I'll Take This. Just today, my wife and I were out window shopping for garden plants, flowers for planting next week. It's going to freeze this weekend, early next week, so we're waiting that out to put plants in the ground so they don't get burned. While walking through the outdoor section of a local garden store, my wife walked off to look at a different row of plants. I was browsing for a climbing plant when an older lady steps into the row and looks directly at me. She's holding an oversized garden bag and saying something to me. I can't really make out what she said, so I walk closer to her with a smile and say, what was that? I'll take this, she says, gesturing towards me with the oversized lawn bag. My smile widens. That's great. Where you talkin' it? She falters as I watch her mentally process my response, still smiling. I see the hamster finally get off the wheel. Oh, you don't work here? I chuckle, no ma'am, with a warm smile. You could have told me that. Getting over her mild embarrassment, she ended with, you just look like you know what you're doing. She's not wrong. I grew up on a farm, ranch, and feel very at home in places like these. Yes ma'am, I do. Have a great day, I said as she shuffled off, oversized bag clutched under her arm. The next story is titled Lady Thought I Worked at the Museum, but I'm 10. Okay, I had forgotten all about this, and not sure if this does belong here, but my mom brought this up yesterday and I thought it would be a good story to share. A wholesome one. When I was a kid, I used to be really into dinosaurs. Like really into them. Knowing almost everything about my favorite ones, and had hopes of becoming a paleontologist. And yes, Jurassic Park, the first film, is still one of my favorite movies, right next to The Ballad of Big Al. Yep, I'm a nerd. Anyway, when I was a kid, we went to visit my grandparents in another state and Grandma mentioned that a new museum had just opened near the city, and Mom and Dad thought, why not? I was excited. My sister was okay with it since we were going to her favorite shop afterward. Now keep in mind, I'm 10 yo girl, over 5 feet, and a bit babyface still. Also, the museum employees were in safari-style clothes. I remember that well because I thought they looked cool and like real paleontologists. I don't remember what I was wearing, but Mom said they were just plain clothes. The museum was awesome. They had real skeletons beside a painted version of the dinosaur on the wall and loads of information on each fossil and skeleton. I stood beside this kid younger than me and he was confused about this one pterosaur skeleton above us and he asks his mom what that bird was. When she didn't know, I tell him all about this little pterosaur and what they liked to eat, that they had feathers, their wing membrane being similar to bats, etc. You would have thought that I had told him all the secrets of the world with how wide his eyes were and this look of awe plastered on his face. He and I chatted for a long time as we walked around the museum and I answered all the questions he had about them. After a while, the mom said, "Wow, you know these creatures well. Thank you for taking the time to give us a tour." I smiled before mom called me over and we went into the shop to look at the dino stuff they had. I vaguely remember this, but mom helped to fill me in. She has a sharper memory than I do. According to mom, the lady was checking out with her son and she started talking about me and how well I knew all about my job, saying that her son had so much fun and asked if the manager could give me a raise. The cashier asks who I was and after she described me, the cashier was confused. That's when mom stepped in and explained that I don't work here, since I'm 10, but that I just love dinosaurs and love talking about them to anyone who wants to hear. The lady seemed embarrassed, but she was thankful to me nonetheless and asked my mom to tell me that for her, I was busy looking through the toys and wasn't listening to them. Her son waved goodbye to me as they walked out, and I waved back. Mom told me how proud she was and that I made a little boy's day. I left with a big smile and a stuffed velociraptor to commemorate the occasion. So sorry to anyone who was expecting a crazy lady story, but I thought a wholesome one about a simple mistake leading to a fun day and making someone happy would have been better. The next story is titled "Nice Guy Helps Out Little Me." This isn't one of those Karen screamed and hit stories, but seeing nice ones like these always make me happy, so I thought I'd include my own. In this story, I was actually the perpetrator. I was at Walmart with my fiancé, and he had abandoned ship to go check out the clearance section while I started shopping, a regular occurrence. He still wasn't back once I got to the waters, and the bottles he likes are always on the top shelf. I'm 5'0", so I would either have to wait, or ask the only other people on this aisle. It was a couple speaking Spanish, and I very shyly asked, "Excuse me?" The guy turned around and kindly said sorry, no English. Now, I'd learned a tiny bit of Spanish at prior jobs, mostly hotel and restaurant related words, but I was able to very clumsily ask him "Tu no trabajo aquí, but yo necesito agua por favor?" You don't work here, but I need water please. Yes, I know my grammar was horrendous, but I tried my best. The guy grabbed the waters on the top and complimented my Spanish and we both went on our ways. My fiancé still had to go back because I didn't realize the multi-packs are smaller than the single ones. But I still appreciated both the guy that helped me, and the opportunity to practice speaking Spanish outside of workspace. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.